So I'm going to play shorter phrases you can play back after me. On A. On A. On A. On E. On E. On E. Again. So all these lines that I'm playing so far out of that scale, they seem to pretty much work, right? They're not horrible. Now, I'm not at this moment yet really worrying about playing notes that are in the triads. And what you could do is, if you wanted to, you could make a stack of those triads and you can use them, right? But I'm going to let you just kind of play out of this scale for now. Use your ears, use the scale, and you can play long notes, you know. Could be long notes, could be any phrases you want to hear. Just take your time, breathe, enjoy yourself, just for about 2 minutes. And then we'll come back and do some with the chord tones. A major to G. But we're using the A mixolydian scale, which is the D major key signature. Now I'm going to play notes from the triads. You can play back after me. On E. Now I'm landing on chord tones. Chord tones from A, chord tones from G, and if you wanted to work on it that way, you don't have to. You could continue to use the scale. But if you wanted to develop your awareness of these chords, improve your ability to find those chord tones on your own, then you could create a chord stack for yourself, right? Of the A, and a chord stack for yourself of the D, or the G chord rather. And then you could look between the two. So those are your two options. Go ahead. 2, 3. And broadly speaking, there's a few intentions that you could be setting right now. It could be like your technique. You know, we're paying attention to right hand, paying attention to left hand. It could be creative, you know, so creative like, oh, let me try to do this idea or that idea. And we know the different creative parameters, like the length of phrases, like the duration of the rhythms, direction of the melody, the shape of the phrase, for example. So a creative intention. It could be more of like an intention to really internalize the harmony, to memorize the harmony, in which case I would recommend doing some kind of sequences out of the scale or some kind of voice leading exercise from your chord stack. It can be a combination of these three intentions: creative, internalization, technical maintenance. And always returning to our breathing and having like a mindful, loving awareness. Appreciating yourself from where you are, for where you are right now. So I hear these eighth notes as being swung or straight. That's a straight eighth note. Actually, I feel like it's swung. I lied. I was wrong, right? So I feel that swing. So if you wanted to bring some of those swung, like kind of triplet-y figures in, you could, you know. So for example, if you really wanted to challenge yourself, if you're more advanced, then you could play like lots of those triplets, you know. And you could try grouping those triplets in like 4 or 5. Those are 5-note groupings of triplets. So I'll play longer phrases and you can trade with me. So longer phrases, your own ideas. Trying to play like simple, clear ideas, also trying to execute those ideas. of trying to hear a longer phrase now. I'll give it to you for just one more minute on this groove. No, actually, before I do, I'm going to give you another option for what you can play over this, harmonically speaking. So we already covered two options. One is the A mixolydian. A mixolydian. Why do we call it A mixolydian? Because it's really the key of D major, right? But it feels like it's in A. Doesn't it feel like it's in A? Right? Do you hear it's A? Even it goes to this G here, but that just feels like a way to come back to home, which is A. But because that G chord is there, we feel like we don't necessarily want, what we could do is over that A chord, we could play A major. I want you to hear what it sounds like if I play the A major scale over that A chord. And then when I go to the G chord, I can't play G sharp there, right? It's a G chord. You gotta play G natural there, right? So I want you to hear what it sounds like. It'll work, but it's like I'm changing keys every time. So just listen. So this is A major. Now this is G major. Right? It works. But you can feel like a shift, a key change. We're literally modulating keys. It's called modulation. We modulated from A major, the key of A major, to the key of G major. So what I'm suggesting, the suggestion I gave you at the beginning of the class is, we don't necessarily need to do that. We can find a scale that works for both chords. This moves so slow that we can get away with doing that modulation if you want, but I just want you to hear the difference that makes. It's a different choice. And it's harder choice in some ways, right? So why make it harder? So Mary's question, what was the first scale? The first scale that we were, the first thing that I gave you was the key signature of D major, two sharps, which we can call A mixolydian. And if you start on the note A and you play the D major scale, that's what it sounds like. Another way to think of mixolydian is like the major scale, but with a flat 7 instead of a major 7. But all these extra things can just cloud your mind. So I don't want you to worry about what is mixolydian. What is that word? You don't need to worry about it. I mean, we're going to talk more about modes today, but the whole point is the point, which is for you to find a way to feel comfortable playing over these changes. All right, so as I was saying, there's different choices of scales, and I'm going to give you another scale right now that I really like, and I call it the Bluegrass Magic Pentatonic Scale. That's what I'm calling it today. The Bluegrass Magic Pentatonic Scale. You may not find that anywhere in your theory textbooks. Okay, I just came up with that, but I like that. So we're going to do, there we go. I think that's it. So we start on A, then we play C sharp, then D, then E, then G. A, C sharp, D, E, and G. And now we've only got 5 notes, but it's going to create this kind of sound. I think you'll recognize the sound. Now, you know what I always say, like you're going to write this out in extended range first position. So cellos, you start on C sharp. You go up to D, first position on a cello, up to a D, unless you want to go to E. Violins, we start this on G. Right? Why? Because there's a G in the scale. We want to learn the scale everywhere it shows up in first position on our instrument. Right. So I'll just play a little bit out of this, what I'm calling this magic bluegrass pentatonic scale. That's my term. I should try to patent that or something. I don't know. We'll just hear what it sounds like. So that's another option for you if you want to work on that. Give yourself the benefit of that visual aid. Unless you just want to, you like to pound your head on a wall, then go for it and try to hear it. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and... You win. You win. You all win at life.